Hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for clicking on the video. We're doing our third Bear interview today, and my guest with me is Eithni. I am Revna, the social media officer for Northshield. So first question for you, Eithni, is who are you?
I go by Eithni Ingan. I am about a 7th century Pict, so living in the far north of Scotland. I know that my name isn't pronounced the way that medieval Irish would have been, although there were Enyas in Ireland. But we know that Pictish and Irish were not mutually intelligible. So we don't really know how Pictish was pronounced, and that was the way I started pronouncing it when I first picked it. And so that's what we go with.
And it's stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that can happen. You say one name and you gotta stick with it sometimes.
Well, I did have another name early on that I
Yeah?
that I changed, but and people were grateful because there were too many people with a similar name in Yara at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, the pronunciation, I figure since we have no idea what Pictish sounded like anyway, just
Yeah, for
roll with it.
sure. That's not too hard to say. I
No.
like Eithne. It's a good name. And then with that, what are your titles within the FCA?
So technically, I am a member of the Order of the Laurel and the Order of the Pelican and the Bear. So I can use any of those, mistress type titles. I tend not to, except in situations where it's very formal or I'm making a point.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm just Eithne.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And then the next one is how long have you been in the SCA? And then also, how did you start in the SCA?
So this fall, it will be 30 years. Yeah, I actually found the SEA on my very first day on Madison campus. I went to UW-Madison for my undergrad and grad school, and I was not a very outgoing or confident person in my, elementary school through high school. And I had told myself that, this was a new start. I was gonna make friends. I was gonna meet people. We're gonna do the thing. And so I moved into my dorm room, a Celery Hall on UW-Madison campus, and I had just gotten everything unpacked, and there was no air conditionings in the room, and it was, hotter than anything. And I just laid down on my bed to like have a rest. And I heard somebody yell down the hallway, "Who wants to go watch Russell Fence?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'm just so hot and tired." But no, no, like I said I was going to do the thing and swords. How bad could it be? Yeah. So I trekked all the way across campus with a horde of people who were also going to go watch Russell Fence and walked into the stock pavilion and just looked around and raised my hand. I just stood at the door with my hand raised until somebody, Mistress Jocelyn, came over and was like, "Can I help you?" Uh, at the time, she was the chatelaine,
Uh,
and I said, "Yes. How much do you want, and where do I sign up?" Because it was very clear that these were my people. I'd always been really
mhm.
into Arthurian legends and the Middle Ages and all those sorts of things. So it was like, yep, absolutely. I've lived in this city for about 2 hours, and, and this is my thing. Uh,
Nice.
I went to the student org fair a few days later just to check, just to
hmm
be sure. And I'm like, no, 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 it's good.
Swords, yeah. Medieval stuff, yeah. Yep. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What activities did you kind of start doing when you started in the SCA?
So I dabbled with a lot of things. Over the course of those 30 years, you're hard pressed to find something I haven't done. But early on, I picked up archery because that was
hmm
something that was, open to new people who, didn't have their own equipment, didn't know what they were doing, didn't have any money because I was a
Yeah.
student. Um, and I did some Middle Eastern dance and almost immediately got into service. I liked to prepare and serve feasts. And before the year was out, Jocelyn had wrangled me into being her replacement as a chatelaine.
Nice. Yep, that happens. You're
Yep.
fresh and new. Take a job.
Like, oh, well, and by a year in, I'd already autocrated an
Oh,
event
oh my gosh.
and, run water bearing at
Yeah,
WW and like
jumping right in.
yeah, it was clear I was a sucker. This it was gonna stick.
That's some intense first year activities.
Yep.
Nice.
I tend to be a little intense, I'm told.
That's not bad. It's good. We need our service people, so everyone should do service.
Yes.
All right.
I keep telling my kids that, it's how things run. And so,
Start them early.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. In every way that I can get them involved and,
hmm
if they can't actively help, I have them notice,
hmm
like this is happening because,
Yep,
if you want things to happen, you need to help.
for
And
sure.
what that looks like is different for everybody, but everybody can do something.
Definitely. I agree. There's lots of different types of service you can do.
Yep.
All right. And then the next one I have on here is what is a bear of Northshield and what does being a bear mean to you?
Okay. So a Bear of Northshield is kind of like an epitome of Northshield. You're supposed to be like one of the examples of what Northshield is meant to be. And to me, and like your one power really is, that you can interrupt court. Um, and to me, that means that, I have the added responsibility, even above, my peerages and what I would do just as a, bossy person, to both protect the good of the society. So, like, if I see something that is not right, that I have an obligation to act to correct it. Um, but also, we love court being interrupted for shtick. We love fun. It's also an equally weighty responsibility to make sure that people are having a good time, that this is fun,
Yeah.
that people are finding their joy.
Yep.
Because otherwise, you don't, there's no reason to continue if it's not
hmm
fun, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole goal of the SCA is for us to all have fun and enjoy each other's
Yeah.
company while doing
And
stuff
and
we
that
like.
fun and that fun can look so different for
hmm
every person, and that's fine. We are such a huge big tent organization. Like there's
Absolutely.
no room for purists.
hmm
You know, I get the societies that have, a very narrow focus and that they've got standards and everything else, and that's just really not the game that we're playing. That's a great game. And if people
hmm
want to play to that level, that's fantastic. But overall, for the SCA as a whole, that is not the game we're playing. By the time we're covering, anything before 1600, anywhere across the world, I mean,
Yeah.
just let it
Very
go,
broad.
man. Just
Yeah.
follow your bliss and have fun.
Definitely. That's a good
It
message for people.
was a political party, it started out as a backyard barbecue. Like, just
Yeah.
go with the vibe, people.
Absolutely, I agree. And like, definitely, if you want to do a specific time period super accurately, there's definitely you can do that in the
Oh yeah.
SCA, but don't judge other people for not doing what brings you joy and doing what brings them joy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that sometimes people, misinterpret because the vast majority of the people that I know that like to play very authentic, that's our standards. Those are
mhm.
our standards for us. You know, you want to run around in pink bunny fur, I will just like edit that out. I will just sail on with my day. It will not bother me in the least. I don't care. All the people who think, "Oh, I'm going to do this thing that really piss her off." You know what? No, I don't. Not even a tiny bit. go do what brings you joy.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I've worn some pretty interesting outfits around you. I, you're definitely not a judgy Laurel unless you like ask you to be.
Oh yeah, and like if people want my input, I am
Hmm.
happy to give my input. And I always ask like, where do you want the Eithni meter? I can set it at 1 and I can set it at 11.
The
You
Eithni
just let
beater.
me know.
Oh, that's funny. All right, wonderful. And then next question I have on here is, what is your favorite North Shield tradition?
So, my favorite Northshield tradition, I think, is the toy run. It's particularly meaningful for me now that I do have kids, but even before
Hmm.
that, I think it really is one of those things that epitomizes North Shield. It is showing that we welcome and value everyone in the society, even the little people, even the people who, may not be contributing very much for, the event or whatever, but them being there is important.
Hmm.
And, it brings us joy. And then there is the whole fun aspect of it too, because there is just something absolutely delightful with watching a knight careening away, being chased down by a horde of tiny
Yeah.
little Vikings. And they develop, tactics and
Oh yeah, they get into it for sure.
that, yeah, they get to be vicious and,
Yeah.
so it's,
They're
I
brutal
think,
sometimes. They're fast too.
oh
I
yeah.
never expect them to be like that fast. I did one once. I was like, they're not gonna be that fast. And I went, they're really fast.
And they're pack hunters, so
Yeah.
they've got their whole. Oh yeah. So I think that that is one of the best things that we have developed as a kingdom. And you know, again, just speaking to North Shield is big on the whimsy. We like fun things, whether that's, a tank or building a giant tower at North Shield at Pennsic,
Mhm.
you know, overlooking N19 from, 3 stories high, Every, we do wild things and fun things. And I think that's important to, who we are as a kingdom.
Absolutely, yeah. I love all the whimsy that we have during court. I feel like courts with lots of shtick are always the best.
Yeah.
All right, and then kind of a related question is, how do you find North Shield to be different from other kingdoms?
Yeah. So I think North Shield, we do have a lot of Norse personas and we kind of buy into that
We really do.
model. Um, where we are very fiercely egalitarian. There are kingdoms that are not. But we try to be inclusive. We try to have fun. Things can be serious when it's appropriate, but we try to make sure that it is not overly stuffy. Like, there's a time and a place for everything. And, you know, we try to strike a good balance.
For sure. Yeah, because I found that there definitely are some more like serious moments in court and stuff, but then
Yeah.
sometimes we get moments like the other day we pulled their majesties into court on like a cart, which is like not stuffy at all.
Well, or the Bardic Madness where they had
Yeah.
court upside down,
Yep.
standing on their heads. Like it's fun and it's okay to have fun.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What's the next one on here? All right, the next one I have on here is, what is your favorite North Shield memory?
Favorite North Shore memory. Oh man. Um, that's hard. There's a lot,
You could
It's
give
been,
like
it's been
top
30
three
years.
works too.
Yeah.
Like
So, I was there at the creation of the kingdom, and that was a very special moment, certainly. Um, and that would definitely have to be in the top three, just,
Mhm.
because at that time I'd already been participating for several years. I started at the end of the first principality reign, so I wasn't quite through the whole principality. but seeing all the work and the passion and the effort that went into getting from principality to kingdom and then developing our own uh, separate identity from the mid-realm. Um, it was an interesting process to see and then to have it come to fruition and be there at that moment. I know a lot of people were very emotional about it for, good reasons. So,
Hmm. For sure. Definitely.
yeah.
Do you want to give the other two? We can do a top
Oh,
three
okay.
for
Let's see.
sure.
Other two. Oh man. Um, that's really hard. I could never participate, very long because, the heat at Pennsic always got to me. But it was always a special thing to go with Northshield, singing a Pennsic down to Mid-Realm, and then joining with all the other Sons of the Dragon, and all of us proceeding singing to the battlefield. That's not really a specific thing that, happened many years. Um, but that sort of thing where you could hear, you know, all of us coming and singing our own principality or
Mhm.
or kingdom songs, and then when we got to the mid-realm and everyone singing in unison out to the battlefield, that was pretty amazing. Um, and yeah, just so many carousing at night in the firelight out in various foreign wars and WW parties and shenanigans. So
Oh
many nighttime
yeah.
shenanigans.
Nighttime shenanigans are like one of the
Yeah.
best parts of the SCA.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of them, but they follow a fairly predictable
Yeah.
formula.
Yeah, those are definitely some of my favorite SCA memories. Like I
Yeah,
remember some like combat and stuff, but like the nighttime stuff, I'm like, that's where that's where it's really at.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. All right. And then my last kind of question here for you is, do you have any future SCA goals?
Oh man. The list is always longer than my arm. I've got so many projects that I'm looking forward to. I'm helping with a couple different peerage ceremonies that are coming up in
Mhm.
the next few months. Some of them involve, things that I haven't done before, but that I'm excited about, and so we're gonna do it because what could go wrong? And Um, I have been a Pelican for some time, but I'm going to be taking my first protege
Oh,
this
nice.
at WW. I have my two daughters, and they have been really getting into archery, and so I've picked up a bow again
Awesome.
after not having shot in several years, and so I'm in that realm of trying to remember how everything works, and I just got a
Hmm.
new bow. They got new bows, and so it's a return for me, but it's new for them,
Hmm.
and helping them to learn new crafts and to do service. Hazel loves serving lunch, so she's all about, oh, we're having an event, are we serving lunch? Like, okay, baby, I'll see if I can get somebody.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think she served me lunch to them at once. They're always it's like so happy when they're there. They're little bundles of joy at events.
Yeah, yeah. And she just thinks it's the best thing in the whole world. I think
Yeah.
it's because, that is her opportunity to contribute. She
Hmm.
knows that is something that is valued. And, she's just turned 6, so it's not like she's doing a whole lot, but she can hand you a piece of
Hmm.
cheese.
She sure can. And it's good to see that enthusiasm for it. Like
Yeah.
when she is 6 though, that she's so like hyped about helping out and like getting involved in it. It's really
Mhm.
awesome.
And, it's neat to see them developing relationships, with like people that
Hmm.
I've known for 30 years
Yeah.
and that they have their own independent relationships with and
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, so it's an exciting time, it's kind of odd to think I've been doing this for 3 decades, you know, why am I not bored yet? And it's, because the SCA is 1,000 hobbies in a trench coat. Uh, and,
Absolutely.
because things grow and change. And, all through my time in the SCA, I've had friends from small children to,
hmm
80-year-old people and, people from all different backgrounds. And we can all find a place and we can all have fun together. And I think that's important. And it's a thing that,
Oh, it's breaking up. Hmm. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. Da-da-da-da-da.
oh, hello, there you are.
Okay, you're back.
Yay.
It cut out for a second there.
Yep.
I don't remember the last thing you actually said.
Um,
Uh, Something about your kids was what I remember.
yeah, yeah. I think I was just talking about how, you know, that there's so many different things that you can do in the SCA. There's so many different people, different ages, different backgrounds, different beliefs, different interests, and, different ages from, kids to much older folk, and everybody has their place. Everybody has their thing they can contribute. Everyone has their passions and their, way of bringing joy
hmm
to you know, to their local groups, to the events, to the society as a whole. And I think that's something that's really missing in larger society because we get kind of siloed into,
hmm
specific interest groups or specific, background, societies, or, you don't have as much of the churn of different
Yeah.
people coming up against each other and interacting and still kind of working towards a common
Mhm.
a common goal.
Yeah. It really is cool because it is like it's a little bit niche. Like you have to
Oh
like
yeah.
history. Like it's definitely still like a niche thing, but
Oh yeah.
it's not niche enough to where it like excludes too many people. Like
Yeah.
most people like some type of historical thing, so it's
Yeah.
still a very
Well,
like wide variety of people that you wouldn't really get to meet elsewhere.
yeah. And even the people who like aren't as in it for the history,
hmm
they're in it because they enjoy doing a weird art that they don't
Oh
really have
yeah.
people to hang out with and nerd about, somewhere else. Or, they never got over the hitting their friends with sticks phase. And, or, it's hard to find places where you can just walk in and try something that people are going to be like excited to be like, here,
Yeah.
here's my stuff, give it a whirl, see how it goes. And, um, people are so open and willing to share. And if
Mhm.
that's not your thing, that's not your thing. You could try one of the other 1,000 things.
Yeah, exactly.
And if that's not your thing, then great. It was fantastic to meet you. And it's a very low barrier to entry
hmm
sort of thing. And you can be as all in as you want to be. And because it's so forgiving, it can move with the seasons of your life.
hmm
I was very, very active, and then I got to grad school and I had to take a step back for a little
Yeah.
bit. And then I got to be very, very active again for several years. And then I had the very tiny children and the pandemic and everything else. And then nobody was doing very much.
Yeah.
And then, now I'm kind of sliding it back into a more active phase.
hmm
But, I never felt unwelcome or like I wasn't doing enough or, sometimes I felt a little out of the loop, but, happens. Uh, and there was always a way to re-enter and to,
Yeah.
um, find things that met my needs where I was at,
hmm
I did heavy fighting for many years, and when that was no longer fun for me, and I had some physical issues that made it a bad idea, I did some rapier for a while, and then you just kind of roll with what works for you at that moment in time.
Hmm. Definitely. And yeah, I've found it really unique that it is like such a welcoming group. Like I really haven't found any other group that is so like, you like this? Try it. And they like really want you to try it. And then like if you
Yeah.
do come back, they're like, woo, you're back.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
not really like a pressure to like be there all the time because everyone understands that you have life too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I've found it super cool, kind of also hearing everyone's stories
Yeah.
from like the past is super awesome, which is why I really like these interviews because I get to hear kind of the history and share it with everyone else too.
Yeah, and that definitely is a Northshield value too. We love a story.
Oh yes.
don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Um, there's always a way to embellish it to be a little bit better, but we will then tell that story for decades.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I love hearing the stories that everyone has. So,
Mhm.
do you have a favorite story?
Oh man, that's another one. That's another hard one. Um, mm, Probably my favorites are unprintable. So
That's fair. Maybe I'll ask you at an event sometime. But anyway, that was the end of my actual questions that I have for you here. So I'll let you I'll let you go. It is getting kind of late. So thanks
yeah.
for joining
All
me
right. Thanks for
today.
having me.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye.
Bye.